All right, so in this section, you're going to use what you learned before. So you're either going to use the box, use synthetic division, use long division, or even use synthetic substitution. And you're going to actually find the roots yourself. So I actually decided I don't like this page. So get a white piece of paper if you can, or you can write on the back if you want, whatever you want. But I'm going to be stapling this into my packet. So now I'm going to give you a problem like this. And I'm going to say find the roots. And you can find it any way you want. You can find it by factoring. You can find it by doing the quadratic formula or completing the square. You can, factoring and then solving. You can use long division, synthetic substitution, and the backwards box. What did I say? Reverse box. You can use all sorts of ways to do this. Now, my go-to way, the way that I like the best, is to factor. The problem is you learned how to factor a lot of ways, right? Let's think about all the different ways you've learned how to factor. One way, I don't know why I remembered it. I'm not exactly sure how that works. So one way you've learned is like the magic X. You've also learned you've had to multiply the outsides and then magic X. You've learned how to do the square root. You've learned that when they have something the same, or GCF, you hoosh it out. You've learned how to do difference of cubes, sum of cubes. You've learned how to do grouping. You've learned how to do fancy factoring. You've learned a whole bunch of ways. So for a lot of us, you're like, I don't know, that's a lot. I want to do any of these. So I'm going to show you the advantage of doing each way, and then you can decide what you want to do. Well, you can actually only do quadratic formula or completing the square when it's quadratic, okay? So as soon as I see it's to the fourth power, that's out. Now, if I decide I'm going to factor it, I got to go through the list and see what type of factoring is it. Well, factoring is usually associated with something in common or squared. This one doesn't. But what I do see, so let me see if I'm going to do this by factoring. I can go to my happy place. X squared minus 13x plus 36 equals 0. Do my cute little magic X. And then I get x minus 9, x minus 4. The problem is it's not x squared. It's actually x to the fourth, so x squared, x squared. Once I factor it, I solve it. I'm going to solve this equal to 0. Square root, square root. I'm going to set this equal to 0. Okay? So one way is to do this is to do it by factoring. So what if you go, I can't factor, or I don't know how to factor, right? I could use long division, synthetic box, synthetic substitution, or reverse box. Now, the problem is, in each of those situations, they gave me a factor. And they were like, does it work? And you're like, yes or no. Well, there's an endless amount of numbers. So how do I know what number I'm supposed to use? Okay. Now, there's something called the rational root theorem. The rational root theorem tells you if there is going to be a whole number or a fraction, there are possible ones, so you're not trying like 17, negative 2.5, 4/3. You know at least how to narrow it down. So the rational root theorem tells you that the coefficients that are in front give you possibilities that it could be. And they actually call this the PQ method, where this represents P and this represents Q. Okay? So if I was doing this, I would write all the factors of 36. Plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, plus or minus 3, plus or minus 4, plus or minus 5, plus or minus 6, plus or minus 9, plus or minus 12, plus or minus 18. Let's see, because... And then give me a second, and then I'll show you how I did this so fast. Plus or minus 36. 1 times 36, 36. 2 times 18, 3 times 12, 4 times 9. Oops, 5 doesn't work. And then 6 times 6. Then I do all the possibilities of this number, plus or minus 1. Well, plus or minus 1 is already counted. So what that tells me is that out of whole numbers and fractions, these are all the possible ones that could work. Okay? So then once I do that, I have to go, okay, which one do I want to pick by long division, synthetic substitution, or reverse box? I will pick a different one for each method, and then we'll show you how to do it the right way. Okay? So let's say I decide to do long division. Yuck. And I think 1 is a possible factor. So I want to find out if 1 is a factor by long division. Okay? So then I would have to go backwards, and I would have to go x minus 1 divided by, and I would divide the original, x to the 4th. But remember, there's no x cubed. Minus x squared plus 0x plus 36. And some of you go, I would never do long division. I agree. But I also agree this is another way to practice long division. Okay? So what do? I divide the first one. This is a good thing in focus and stamina and persistence, or I don't know, too many words. So x goes into x to the 4th, x cubed. Multiply. Oops, that's cubed. And then now, subtract. So that's a 1. So 1x cubed, bring it down. Stir and repeat. Divide. Multiply. Subtract, change. Bring it down. ... Okay? You're going to see that there is going to be a remainder. Since there's a remainder, it doesn't work. So you're like, okay, now I'm going to try x plus 1. Now I'm going to try x minus 2. Oh, so we know that 1 doesn't work by long division, and we're probably never going to check it by long division, but you need to know how to do it by long division. Okay? So now I know that 1's out. I'm going to try negative 1. But this time, instead of doing, I want to find out if negative 1 is a factor. This time I'll do synthetic substitution. If I'm doing synthetic substitution, that means it needs to equal 0 when I'm done. So I think that p of negative 1 equals 0. Okay? So I'm going to take negative 1, and I'm going to plug it back into my original. So I'm going to go negative 1 to the 4th minus 13 times negative 1 squared plus 36, and it should equal 0. Okay? When you take a negative to an even power, it's positive. This is positive times that is negative. No, it doesn't work. So then I can try positive 2 and negative 2 and all that stuff. But all I know for sure now is that positive 1 and negative 1 don't work. Okay? We know how to do it by long division and synthetic substitution. You're going to see why I don't like synthetic substitution in a couple minutes. So now I'm going to do... what's another one? The reverse box. All right. I also am not a big fan of the reverse box because I think it just takes too long. So I think that let's do positive 2 is a factor, and I'm going to do the reverse box. Okay. So if I think positive 2 is it, I would go x minus 2. Now remember, it's x to the 4th plus 0x cubed minus 13x squared plus 0x plus 36. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, first guy, last guy. All right, so multiply it out. So x to the 4th is done. How do I get negative 2? I do positive 2. So that would be 2. Oops, I really got to slow down. 2x squared. Let me just double check because my brain is not being awesome. All right, I have negative 4x, but I need negative 13x, negative 9x squared. So that would be negative 9x. That's done. 18x. I have 18x, but I have 0x, so I need negative 18x. Negative 18. And then now 36. Ah, look at that. That's what I'm supposed to get. So is 2 a factor of the original? Yes. Now, that only told me one of the factors. So I know one of the factors is 2. So now that I know that one of the factors is 2, I'm going to take this new thing and I'm going to try a different factor. So one of the factors is 2. There's a total of 4 factors. I still got 3 more to find. So now I'm going to try another number. So I'll try negative 2. So is negative 2 a factor. Use the reverse box if you want. So then I would go x plus 2. Now, I don't have to divide the original now, because now I know, okay, if I know that 2 is a factor, this is what I'm left with. And some of you go, what? Okay. If I'm trying to find all the factors of 36 and I do a factor tree and I get 2 and 18, they go, cool, 2 is a factor. Do I now go back to the original 36 to find the rest? Or am I focused on my new 18? Focused on my new 18, 2 and 9. Do I ever go back to the 18 now? No. Now I'm focused on the 9. And some of you go, what? I remember your birthday cake. Okay, let's do birthday cake. Is 2 a factor? Yes, it is. Do I go back now to the 36? No, I'm on 18. Until I'm all done. Okay? So when I go here, I'm now going to be trying to get this yellow, which is x cubed plus 2x squared minus 9x minus 18. Okay, let me pause it real quick. So for time, I did the -2, and I go, oh, I got -18. I wanted -18. -2 is also a factor. Okay, look at this. 2 and -2. That's that plus or minus 2 from a year ago when I factored. Look at how much more work I'm doing if I don't know how to factor. Okay? And then I go, okay, I got 2 of them. I still need 2 left. What am I left with? X squared plus 0x plus 9, which is really x squared minus 9. Oh, I don't need to do reverse box anymore. I can set it equal to 0, x squared equals 9, plus or minus 3. Are you guys with me? All right, that was a workout. So, by the way, back here, I could have also factored it. So once I did the reverse box, I actually wouldn't have done the reverse box again. What I would have done is gone, hey, this reminds me of grouping. So I'm going to turn this over. And I would have gone, let's see, x cubed plus 2x squared. I would have done factor by grouping. Let's see if we remember how to do factor by grouping. GCF. GCF. Find the match. Whatever's left goes in the other box. Then set it equal to 0. -2 plus or minus 3. So there's my -2, which I decided not to reverse box because I was like, once I see it's here, I would have gone back to factoring. Okay? And then I could have just gotten all the answers and I didn't have to do any more. Factoring has so much power. Okay? So there's so many paths that you can take. I didn't even acknowledge synthetic division. Okay? So let me do synthetic division. If I was to do x to the 4th minus 13x squared plus 36 equals 0. Okay, and if I would have done synthetic division, let's say I tried 2, 1, 0, -13, 0, 36. Bring it down. Oops. Diagonal, multiply, vertical, add. Diagonal, multiply, vertical, add. Diagonal, multiply, vertical, add. Diagonal, multiply. Yay, it works. That's a factor. Then I would have gone, hey, I had 4 factors. I took out 1. I have 3 left. And then I could have done factor by grouping. Or I could have done synthetic division again, and I could have gone, hey, I'll try -2 this time. But I'm not going to use my original. I'm going to use my new. 1, 2, -9, -18. Bring it down. Diagonal, multiply. Vertical, add. Diagonal, multiply. Vertical, add. Diagonal, multiply, vertical, add. Oh, I got a second one. I started with 4. I got 2 of them, so I have 2 left. X squared minus 9 equals 0, ... Okay? That was a lot, I know. We'll do another one.